Fantasy Philosophers is brought to you by fantasy-info.com.
In any league, running backs are always going to rule the roost, and that can't be truer, once again, when it comes to keeper leagues, because, hey, if you've got a dominant player, look at LaDainian Tomlinson. For so many years, that guy has been, obviously not now anymore, but for years he was a dominant player, and, hey, if you had rights to him, you were having a lot of fun year after year after year there for a lot of that one decade that he was dominating for the most part. Well, that's come to a close now, but there's still players like Adrian Peterson, and Chris Johnson is a name that's really big right now as a guy that could put together that kind of run like LaDainian Tomlinson had, maybe a 7-year run there. And Chris has had 2 really good years. Last year was an unbelievably great year for him, might have been his career best year, but at the same time, he's still a great player. And so those are the type of things that, boy, you just dream about in a keeper league, to get a player or two like that on your team. And so with running backs, obviously it's always at a premium. A lot of leagues you'll be able to keep maybe 2 running backs, and it can also depend on rookie rights that you may have in your structured league. Some leagues you get rights to different rookies that you've drafted as opposed to just the guys that you can keep. That's something to keep in mind. Every one of these keeper leagues can be a little bit different, but generally, especially if you're in a league where you don't necessarily have just a straight rookie draft or rookie rights, a lot of times 12-team leagues you may be only holding on to maybe 2 running backs. So there's going to be opportunities. Usually what I've found in that situation is throughout the season, there's different running backs always that come out and really start to assert themselves as viable options. And even in the offseason, we start to see these things. Look at Sean Green as a player that even through the season, he was pretty much irrelevant. But, hey, you look at the playoffs, all of a sudden he's very relevant. And this offseason, he's just become even more so. So there's a player that, you never know. In your league, he could be sitting out there. Somebody could have given up on him when they didn't see him getting enough touches through the season last year, and they needed to go get somebody else, and maybe he just kind of sat out there. So there's a guy that could be available to you, a Ryan Matthews in rookie drafts, or even, just in a standard league draft. There is definitely a name that you want to jump all over, because he's a name that really right now is the type of guy that could give you, he's filling in for LT. He's on a really good offense and should get a lot of good opportunities to be a very successful back for years to come with the San Diego Chargers. That's definitely a name in keeper leagues you definitely want to jump on if you have the opportunity with an earlier pick. I definitely recommend you go after him. So these are just some of the things to keep in mind. The only thing that I can say is, during the season, always keep an eye on a cheat. Keep a cheat sheet like this, because we've got, I want to say, about 60 or so running backs on this specific list for you, and so it's good to keep an idea of who the overall running backs that, that's who we have listed we think are relevant right now that you should be really looking at. And that'll change. There'll be different names that kind of come out of the woodwork that become more valuable. I mean, even look at a Jamal Charles. He was a guy that was really down the boards last year because Larry Johnson was still entrenched with Kansas City. We knew Jamal had some talent. One concern I had with him is that he seemed like he got nicked up a little too easily, and I was wondering if he was going to become more like a Jarius Norwood ended up becoming, who had talent and explosion but just never really could stay healthy enough. But I'll tell you what, Jamal, he definitely stayed healthy last year, and that's why he's right now number 10 on our keeper league boards. Definitely a guy you want to keep an eye on there. So anything can happen with some of these younger guys. I think a Donald Brown, there's a guy that you want to take a look at. Maybe you're looking a year ahead for him, because look at Joseph Adai. Adai's there right now, but coming into next season, it looks like his contract's going to end with the Colts, and it's probably going to be that they aren't going to pay him because he demand too much money. Plus, at that time, Donald would be ready to start. So there's a little nugget player that you might want to stash away and say, hey, I need, especially for people who have LaDainian Tomlinson. I know a guy in a keeper league I'm in, he's got LaDainian Tomlinson, and he gave him one heck of a ride for a lot of years. And he's also had Thomas Jones, but guess what? He has no running game now. He's in a total rebuilding phase. So when you're in a rebuilding phase, or you need to just keep stacking depth, you always want to do that, especially at this position, because it's so key. Guys like Donald Brown, guys like finding that Jamal Charles that might get an opportunity down the road. Those are key names to always keep in mind. And if you hit a few of those, boy, it can really bring your franchise back real quick off of a rebuilding phase. And once again, we just want to let you know that if you're listening to this out there on the internet, maybe on YouTube for a video, we've got this, what we're talking about here, available for you. There's a link. It should be a link at the bottom of where this video is at, right underneath the text. and you can click on that link. You can go over and you can download this information that we're talking about. You can print it out for yourself to use at your draft. We have that available for you. And if you're also listening to this on a podcast, maybe like Podbean, Media, any one of those, Blueberry, any of those type of places, that should also be incorporated. There should be an article with this as well, and there should be some type of link there for you to get back to the specific page that we're talking about for this cheat sheet or mock draft that we happen to be talking to you about right now. Good luck this season, and we hope that this information helps you have success.
For more fantasy football information, go to fantasy-info.com and sign up for our free e-newsletter. Good luck in your 2010 Fantasy Football League. As an added bonus, the Fantasy Info guys will include their 5 secret tips for success in fantasy